Hey everybody, welcome back to Chin Fat. In this episode, I'm continuing color grading. We've been going over the brightness, balance, and saturation nodes that we've created here, and we're going to now cover the secondary. Secondary color grading is when you select a very specific color hue. We're going to show this probably, and we'll do it in two instances. We'll do it to the yellows and we'll do it to the blues, and you'll notice how it will not affect the overall image. It will just affect these portions of the image here. And what we can do here to start, because I'm going to do two different secondaries in here. So I'm going to actually add a different node. I'm going to do Option S, which will add a new node here, and we'll make this node a secondary as well. So I'm going to go to the node label and we'll call this one secondary, and we'll call this one shirt. And then we'll go to this node here and we will call this one secondary flowers. That's too long of a name, so let's change that to secondary flowers like that. We'll shorten secondary, and I'll do that the same up here. There. Secondary shirt and secondary flowers. So let's start off on this node with the secondary flowers. So what we're going to do here is go to our qualifier. Right down here, you've got your curves, and we're going to move down to the qualifier. This is where you affect your secondaries. So we're going to go to the flower here. You're going to zoom up. I'm just moving over this. I'm scrolling up with my mouse. If you middle click on your mouse and drag it like that, holding it down, it will drag it and move it right into the frame there. So I'm going to select the flowers here, move my mouse right over this, and go click, and I'm going to actually drag across these flowers across the bright side to kind of the darker yellows. And what that will do is it will start selecting all those color ranges right there. If we want to see what we've selected, you can kind of see it on these nodes when you've selected a whole bunch of colors. Right now it's really hard to tell because it's a really small part of my image. But you can see down here that I've selected this middle point of yellow, this range of saturation, and this range of luminance. And to see exactly what we've selected, we're going to go up to this little feature right here. We're going to click on that. This is your highlight feature, and it's going to show you in this color gray pattern that what is selected in color is what is changing, and what is in gray it's going to not even touch at all. You can see that we kind of share some of those yellow shades down here. We can start messing with this to get the flowers and nothing else. Let's hit Shift Z. I want to zoom out and show that this is also grabbing some yellow colors that are in this range right here. What we want to work on is maybe just grabbing the flowers and nothing else. Let's zoom in to that a little bit, and I'm going to start affecting the range of yellow here. You can change your width here and extend this out, and it will, but that starts to grab more stuff that's outside, and we probably don't want to grab that. Let's just try to get the flowers. Sometimes if you're color grading something like this, it doesn't hurt to color grade other stuff as well that's a similar color, especially if we're trying to correct it. This isn't correcting as much as it is just brightening the yellows or muting the yellows. So I'm going to undo that, hit Command Z to undo that, and it closes back to that single range right there. But let's mess with saturation. I'm just going to grab the saturation and move it. Oh, look at that. Right there, the outside stuff disappeared. I'm just changing this range of saturation where now it's got the flowers and not getting really anything outside, barely anything outside. We could increase the range here as well, and just try to get as much of those flowers as we can without grabbing stuff outside. And let's zoom up the flowers. Now that we tend to get rid of that stuff outside, let's look at just our flowers here. And I'm going to grab the range of luminance and move that around too, and just try to grab as much of those flowers as possible. And like right there, looks like it's getting about as much as I can get. We can increase the range to the left here. That doesn't seem to be doing much. Increase it to the right, and that doesn't seem to be doing right. So it's this slide here that seems to be getting the most of those yellows. And on saturation as well, we're just going to barely get that like that so it doesn't pick up the stuff outside. And that's pretty good right there. And I don't mind if it's got a little bit of the leaves down here, and that's fine. Now we can do a couple more things to kind of clean this key up right here. Right now we are looking at the highlight in the where it's showing the gray versus color here. And right here is a different way of viewing it. This is going to be a black and white matte. Whatever is bright white is going to be what it's affecting, and everything that's in black, it's not going to be touching that at all. This is called a matte right here, this black and white matte. And we can use this. We can go up and say, okay, let's scroll up a little bit. We're going down here, and we're going to do, you got your pre-filter option here. Your pre-filter, it will blur the white inside of this range that we have selected. So that will start blending it together and making getting rid of these little dots in here. It kind of blurs the inside of that matte. We're going to grab this and drag it, and you can see what that's doing. It's starting to grab more of that white inside. We're just going to go maybe a little bit more here. Right about there looks pretty good. It's starting to blur it together. That's fine. And now we can probably get away with the most of this by doing clean white. Clean white will just start to fill, look at this, it just starts filling in those shapes of the flowers there. And the stuff that is closer to white, that's past like 50 IRE, which is past 50% gray, it's going, moving on up. This is changing how much of those whites they do, like anywhere from, I don't know, like as you slide this up, it's starting to grab more like the 60 IRE, 70 IRE and above, 80 IRE and above, and definitely the stuff that's at around 100 IRE. So that just starts grabbing the stuff that's a little white and pushing it more into the white there. And now we're going to have more of a full mat there that's been selected. And now if we do clean black, let's see if it gets rid of any of this stuff down here. As we clean black, it'll start grabbing the stuff that's down below like 50 IRE and start getting rid of that stuff. And if we do that too much, it's starting to eat into these flowers. That's not too bad though. That's pretty good. Let's see what we've got here on our color yellow. That's good. Last thing that we could do is also blur the radius so it's not such a hard edge around the edge of our mat here. If we blur radius, if I go really extreme, you can see what that's doing there. That's going to be too much, but just a little bit of softening around those edges will make it so it doesn't look like a hard-edged yellow. And there we go. And that looks pretty darn good. So I'm going to hit Shift Z to zoom out. Let's turn our mat off up here. And now we're going to look at those flowers. I shouldn't have zoomed up, but let's look at these flowers now and watch what happens. Let's do our color boost, which is like a little bit more vibrance than it is saturation. But this will, so let's do the color boost. And look at that. So that is you notice that my yellow spike is kind of growing out towards the limit here, but it still hasn't reached the limit. But I'm exaggerating this just a bit, just so you can see what this is doing. And it's doing that just on the flowers and nothing else in the image. Watch this when I hit Command D to turn that off. Look at the difference and turn it on. Watch this really close. And see that color, just bloom color there. So once again, if we're trying to make it really, really draw some attention to it, and also it's the same vice versa. If you want it to draw attention to the person and maybe not the flowers there, I would probably increase the saturation on the skin and not on the flowers over here. Let's do the blue one here, the shirt as well. Let's select the shirt. We're making everything so colorful here, but maybe we could mute the shirt or make it brighter, or make the blue even brighter. But let's go through this process one more time. So I've got this node selected. We're going to click and drag them on my qualifier. I'm going to click and drag across the blues on the arm here. And you can see, look at this as I move this around. You can see it grabbing more. Look at down here. You'll see it increasing the range of blues and luminance and saturation. So watch this as I drag it across. If I click one point, it just does that. And now watch what happens when I drag it. Watch the scale down here as I drag this across. It starts increasing the range of luminance and saturation that it's grabbing. Let's go to our mask here, our highlight, click on that. And now we can start working on just the blue in the shirt. So let's go to our color versus gray here. And let's change the range of saturation. See, I'm just going to get it where it barely gets all the shirt, like right there. And then it's grabbing less stuff out here. And then if we grab this, we can move this around, change the luminance, and now we've got more of the shirt. Still got some little stuff corrected or selected out here, but it's not too bad. So, but that tended to get more of this range of the shirt here. So let's go to our matte. We're going to do the same thing. We're going to do our matte finesse, blur the inside of the mask, the white areas, make that. Now it's a lot cleaner and it's not as noisy in there, not as artifacty. So, and now we're going to clean the white. And look at that, how it just fills in the shirt there. And let's clean the black, see if we can get rid of some of this other stuff over here, this thinner stuff. And look at that, it's getting rid of it without affecting the shirt too much. Now, finally, let's do our blur radius, just soften the edges just a little bit. And there we go. And that mat's pretty darn clean. And it looks like it's just doing some correction over here as well. But once again, that's not going to be a big deal. So I'm going to turn that off. And that's the blues in the sky. So when I change the blues in the shirt there and saturate them, the blues in the sky will come out as well. And if you don't want to do that, you would have to do an actual like physical mask over the shirt. And then it will just correct things in that circle. You do like a circle mask. That will be in an upcoming episode. So. All right, so for right now, we're going to increase the saturation, and let's do the same thing, color boost, more vibrance and saturation. Boost is going to basically take the higher saturated areas and boost those even more and leave everything else alone, where saturation increases the whole area that you've got selected there. So we're going to go color boost, and watch this. I'm going to increase, a lot of people call this vibrance. And going way up, I went up to 100 there just to show you what this is doing. Now watch this when I hit Command D. See, that's without and that's with. So we can tone that down a little bit. Maybe go to like 70 right there. And now let's look at it. Just do it like a subtle boost on the shirt. And this is really helpful also with the sky. If you're like trying to bring back some of the blues in the skies, the secondaries work wonderfully for bringing back blue in the sky. So let's hit Command D. There's without and there's with. Cool. Well, that's a quick little tutorial on the secondary color grading. In the next episode, we're going to be going over skin tone, which is another type of secondary, but we are going to show specifically skin tone, and we're going to show you how to do it along the skin tone line, which is down here on the vector scope. So thanks for watching Chin Fat, and we'll see you in the next episode.